The stream is live.
Кажи да смо live.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Wait for the emails to start pinging that we're live.
Yeah. Hi everyone, and welcome to our newest bookish discussion for our book club that still doesn't have an official name
because it's not a book club.
But featuring Bookworm Dreams and all of the people from Morina kutija. May the people say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So just quickly, let's remind who is who. Let's start with Maya.
Oh, hi. I'm Maya from the channel Bookworm Dreams. I like to read fantasy and sci-fi, and I'm a bit ambivalent about this book.
Oh. Let me start.
Okay. Hi, I'm Christina. I'm the other part of the channel, Bookworm Dreams. Do I have to say something about the book? I am a kind of I liked it. I liked it. There.
Igor.
Hi, I'm Igor from Morina Kutija, and I love this book.
And I'm Leah from Morina kutija, and I like this book.
Oh. Well, I'm Vesna from Morina kutija, and I cried for the final quarter of this book.
Oh no.
I think I loved it. And I'm Antonia, also from Morina kutija, and I liked it, though I have some complaints, of course. Of course, I need to get them. But this beginning sounded a bit like that part. I'm doing my part.
Yes,
it's
exactly what I was doing. Would you like to know more?
Yeah. So, okay, let's start with the non-spoilery segment, just general opinions. So we heard some like a bit ambivalent and some liked it. So Maya, would you like to expand on the ambivalent part?
Okay. I started this book like 3 days ago, which might have been a mistake. I should have started it today so I can just go through the whole thing in one day. The first part of the book was very enraging because of the world and the character. We're going to talk about spoilers more later. Mm-hmm. The first actually 2 to 3 parts are like the same. And then in the middle of the book, the whole book changes tone. And I think our main character loses whatever kind of character development they had. And from then on, it went into this like sci-fi, military sci-fi jaunt adventure thingy with philosophy and whatnot. And I did not enjoy that part at all. And I actually, when Vesna said that she cried at the end, I was like, that was the worst part of the book for me. I remember finishing the book and I sent Christina a message saying, I finished it in, like lame, like basically. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Nice. This is promising.
Yeah.
I just remembered that we didn't say a few general stuff from the plot regarding the plot.
It sounds like Christina is the right person to do that.
Fine, to do her part.
Oh, damn. Okay. Let me get my notes. No, okay. Yeah, I have like a bajillion notes. Never mind. So, in this book, we follow Kier.
Yeah.
Okay, Kier. So she lives on this kind of space station that is like settled on some kind of rock formation in space, obviously. And we have she lives in this very radical society, and she is about to get her like big assignment, like after like school, let's say. And this is kind of where the story starts, because she finds out some stuff and kind of starts questioning the world that she's living in. I think that's the most I can say without actually going into spoilers.
Very hard not to spoil shit. Yes.
Yes. And I'm just gonna say, like Maya, my trajectory with the book was actually rage, like big letters, rage. Then I kind of lost interest in the middle, but I actually quite liked the end. I think it was very poignant. Like I was like, oh my god, that was like that was generally how I felt.
Yeah, without spoiling, I would say that it's definitely military sci-fi that feels like Starship Troopers, but for the modern audience. And I'm going to die on that hill because we have this obvious, very extremist military organization, and we are watching everything from their point of view. And the book does criticize a lot this kind of system. And this is why it constantly reminded me of Starship Troopers.
Yeah, when you say Starship Troopers, you mean the movie, right?
Well, mostly the movie, though I read the book and the book too.
No,
Yeah,
I was just...
Book also satirized military complex.
No, I know. I was just interested whether it's more of the tone thing, because the tone of this book is closer to the book than the movie. The movie is very in your face with the satire.
Mm-hmm.
The book is a bit more
because you're
subtle.
in the headspace of the brainwashed characters. That's why it was the immediate connection, because neither these guys there or Kier in the beginning of this book really see their life as anything else than what the military says to them. Though I don't remember the book that clearly as the movie, but yeah. So I will stop now with Starship Troopers references.
I think we were just about to continue the second round with what do you think about the book?
Yeah. So who wants to share?
Leah, what were your thoughts about the book? Leah didn't say.
Okay, so I wanted to say it's very interesting because I had the same reaction as you, Maya, but on the other parts of the book. To me, the first half was really, I don't know, it was very weak to me. I was reading it and I thought, this feels so soulless, like the writing style and everything. Nothing is getting to me. And then at the half, I reached literally the half of it, and then the other stuff started happening, and I was suddenly wholly interested in all the characters and what's going on, and suddenly I was following the story so well, and I don't know, I just liked the second half so much, and it improved my view of the book. But the first half was so boring, and I feel it was so generic. It kind of, I do not DNF books, but this reminded me of some of the worst like tropes I have ever seen in the first half, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe I'm reading this. But I'm glad I went through it. I mean, we had the book club, so of course, but the second half, in my opinion, was much stronger than the first half. Yeah,
I think we're gonna have to start calling it a buddy read. Otherwise,
yeah.
I think so.
Because it's not a book club. Yeah.
It's a thin line between a buddy read and a book club.
Okay.
What do you want to say?
Depends on how many buddies you have. Literally.
All of them. The first half of the book was a-okay to me. It was I was very surprised when I realized what one of the major plot lines were with the way it was handled. Are we into spoilers yet?
Yeah, let's go with the spoilers.
Yeah, let's just go.
At some point, yeah.
So the forced pregnancy thing, which is one of the main 2 or 3 themes of the book that I identified, was like the first time I read something which wasn't as nasty as usually when people go that route. And I spent the first half of the book shocked with how readable it was, because the book is about this brainwashed teenager who's very for the honor, and I'm going to do everything for humanity and for my asteroid thingy. and it's almost funny at times because she's very stupid. She's beyond stupid. I mean, you remember the conversations in the second half of the book where people actually told her, you were so lucky, you had no idea. I still can't realize how you could have no idea. How did you not see what was happening in front of your eyes? And so at the halfway point, I was angry at the writer because she took something that worked for me, a narrative and a structure that worked for me, and she said, nope, time travel.
Not time travel.
Reality shifting.
Reality shifting, yeah.
Fuck you into my face as a reader who enjoyed the first half of the book. And one of my favorite stories, a couple of my favorite stories of all time from all sorts of media, movies and books, and I write something similar. I write parallel universes, and still I hated it with such a passion. It was so unnecessary, and I felt betrayed as a reader. I'm sorry if I'm ranting too long.
I agree.
No, it was.
We're here for the rants.
It was so. It felt like a knife in the back of myself.
I would add that for me it felt like lazy writing because we had this huge plot point happening that was really impactful and it was really, really bleak at that moment, and I knew right away that it will not stick. When writers decide to brutally kill important characters, it's not going to stick. And the book already hinted at us the time travel, so I was expecting that.
Not time travel, but
but still, and we took this really emotional, hard-hitting moment, and then suddenly we got the fanfication of the book, because it really felt to me like she
JK
fanfic Au of her own book, put it in that book, only to give Kier the instant character development, because the book was at that point for me the book about de-radicalization. Which is a slow process, and
that's what I wanted to read.
Me too. I was enjoying it. I enjoyed it. And I think the way she was handling her slow de-radicalization was really interesting.
It was extremely slow.
But it was because it is a slow process. So she could either do a time jump or she decided to do an alternate universe and simply give her the practically transformation character. Because she suddenly...
There's a word for it.
She suddenly got knowledge.
Identity transplant?
Yes, identity transplant in a way, yeah. So she could be both at once. Kier from the gas station and Kier that is more not as brainwashed.
Enlightened.
Yeah. Who went through education and shit and stuff. So for me, it was lazy character writing, and she fixed her problems with that part, but it really does feel like she was just stalling, and then suddenly we go to the end, and this ending is finally coming back to the meat of the story, but it was already in the last part of the book, and we had to finish at some point, and I was just waiting when it will be finished. There were so many moments when I was just took the fucking gun and shoot him. Just please, just stop this misery. So it was a fun book, but Vesna says, really, really disappointed by the owl moment of it. Yeah.
But that was okay when they first. So we followed the first three parts as she's sort of coming out of the fog. I kept sending Christina messages. She's like those, Mormon ladies when they leave their husband and whatnot, walking around the real world. And when the whole let's destroy the aliens thing happened, and then switch, we are changing reality. When it happened the first time, I was like, okay, plot twist, let's continue on. But then it happened again. And then you're like, that doesn't work. I remember watching, when you watch TV shows and you're like doing a problem the entire season, and you come to the end, you sort of finish the problem, but then everything changes, and they do that again and again and again. It keeps losing importance, and it keeps it made the book was like, okay, now I'm not, you lost me, I'm not following again. And I was the last part when they switched, I was like, okay, let's just finish this. I had an hour and a half left of the audiobook. Okay, I'm just going to sit here and play my game and listen just to see how it ends. But I could not care less, honestly, because I was so the book started with this character that is so enraging. I sent Christina a message at like 4% when she made that little girl lick the floor because she spilled some water. And I was like,
Yeah, that was awful.
our main character. This is the person we're supposed to root for. And then you get into her head and you sort of see, oh yeah, she's indoctrinated. She's following this, like, she has blinders on. She's just focused on her mission and working towards this goal. And when things didn't go her way, she didn't get the assignment that she wanted. She got sent to the nursery to be, whatever. What do you call that? A brood cow? Mood cow? Whatever.
Breather.
Right. Yeah. So, and she started questioning things. That it became interesting, and she went to the planet and she saw her sister and figured out what the bad guy was doing and the brother and whatever. And then, the rest of the book happened. And I was so invested into this first story. Oh, like, let's see how she figures out who the bad guys are and how she, grows and becomes a better person. And then
yeah, the ending, as with the reality shifting and everything, I was sort of expecting, and that the ending would be a tragic one. At least I wanted it, like a little bit of me really wanted it to be tragic, because the message would be, whatever you do, you can't save everyone. And I would have liked this message more instead of this, I would say, Disney ending. And I mean, I did like, okay, everyone's alive, I'm glad. I did like the characters, I'm glad they're all fine. But it kind of felt like, I felt like she needed to die with Yiso at the end, and they just survived. And I was like, and then the spaceship was like, oh yeah, I'm also Wisdom here, still alive. And I'm like, nobody died.
And all 2,000 people from Gaia Station finally came to the light. Like,
I feel like it totally missed the whole point of what it was building up to. It was kind of disappointing. I wanted to be more emotionally wrecked by this book at the end.
When it got to that point where Joel dies in the Shadow Engine, which was perfect.
No, it was Disney.
Sorry.
No. I said perfect because he's basically killed by the same thing that he was trying to, in his version of reality, to use to change things. At the point where it looks like she and Yiso are dying, and then they don't, is the point. I was reading that part last night where I thought, oh, she's pulling a Becky Chambers, because Becky Chambers. I've read all 4 of her books. She has the same problem. She cannot commit to there's literally in all 4 books, there is a single moment where a character actually dies, and it's really tragic and it sticks. And this was the same thing where it's like, but it needs to, can do it, needs to end cozy. And that was,
I kind of thought it was like, I think this book is marketed to adult readers, but I think it started as a YA.
Yeah,
it needed to have a YA ending where the bad guy dies, and our hero.
It's not the bad guy dying. That's the YA thing. It's just the
all surviving.
Yeah,
These.
Yeah, this like black and white. I have like shades of gray of like wondering. Ooh, like
I don't want to use the word fluffy, but it kind of gets fluffy, especially with the whole "can I touch your hair" thing, which is kind of sweet, but also okay. Who is this for exactly? That's fine.
Me. It's for me.
Okay. And me, I guess.
Yeah.
I just have to say, like, I have to just agree with Leah. Like, I felt like that whole setup, them staying on the asteroid and then going into that bubble, and like that part was like the poignant one where I was like, oh my god, like they're really staying, they're gonna die now, and then they didn't. And like literally that kind of destroyed the book for me because they didn't die. I was like, but it would have been perfect if
Yeah.
they were dead.
And they lived happily ever
Yes.
after.
It felt as
Yeah.
if there was a show producer which came at the
Yeah.
end and said, our pre-sales are through the roof. You can't make this standalone. So fuck you, and they have to live. I hated it. Not them not dying. I didn't mind them not dying, but they should have died. I hated the
Yeah,
shipping
yeah.
part. And I've read and seen plenty sentient ships, and I hate it. No, I didn't hate it when I was in high school, but I'm too old for this.
For me personally, I actually was more angry at there no being consequences for like anyone. All of the deaths were reversed, and every time you thought someone died, it actually, whoa, they didn't actually die. But at the end, one character has a really great moment when they decide to finally self-sacrifice for the greater good, because they finally recognize their own part of the system. Yeah, the blame for it.
Responsibility.
Yeah, and they now want to do something, and they're putting their life on the line for all the others. And it was such a great moment when they like died.
It was a good death.
And then suddenly, but no, that person also isn't dead. And then, okay, now all of the station is in trouble. Not just one ship, but like all 2,000 of them. So you expect some of them should die. And they also don't die. And I mean, it is in Kier's character that she will try to save everyone, because that's the point from her character from the beginning. But that doesn't mean that she needs to succeed in that. Because again, it's the whole station is full of extremists, of people who were radicalized from their birth, who were so brainwashed that, like, you cannot tell me that this 2,000 soldiers just came peacefully and everything was fine and they all went away and they're all saved. Like, come on.
I didn't see it as if it were all fine. I saw it as they had a full brig full of volatile people.
Yeah, it's
genetically engineered to make themselves more volatile.
I mean, nowhere does it say that they all had a perfectly happy ending once they actually reached the next, civilized planet.
But we will find that out in the next book.
Yeah. But it is like what you said, fluffy. Like that moment that she was like, "Oh yeah, all 2,000 are safe." Like you cannot know that, but okay, fine.
No, it should have been it should have been as dark as the first quarter of the book actually leads you to believe. And it could have been, with all the reality hopping and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I would have actually liked it more if she stuck to the bleak moment in the book when she killed a bunch of people.
She killed
millions,
several trillion and two people.
Yeah, two named characters.
Okay, the first.
The first part.
Yeah, the first wish.
The first time.
The first time, yeah. I know it was super dark. And at that moment, you feel like there's no hope, and you know that the gas station will now attack the other human refugees that are living peacefully. But I felt like she could have pulled maybe an interesting story there with Kier now fighting for the planet against the gas station. I mean, that would have been much darker book, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think Emily Tesh. Yeah.
No, her Silver in the Woods is pretty dark book, so she can pull the dark.
Definitely. Then maybe Vesna is more right than we actually think, with the whole producer stepping in and forcing changes.
I don't know.
Maybe actually there was an editor or an agent that was like, "Could you maybe tone it down?"
I don't know. I mean, maybe she wouldn't choose to kill so many trillions.
Bringing everybody back all the time was her choice, I think. I'm not sure how the two deaths that I cared about would have been not her choice. I don't know. It was
That would
just
be too big of a change, probably, to
Yeah.
like make everyone live.
I mean, it could have been
from
that she felt that
dying.
that what Antonia suggests might have worked in a novella, but if you're doing a novel and it's 500 pages of just that, maybe it wouldn't be that interesting to that many people.
I'm not going to assume what
Yeah.
the author planned
No,
or thought, but I'm just saying as a reader. But I do like dark shit, so it wouldn't. I mean, it's just this kind of deaths are are very impactful, but it cheapened instantly because I knew it's going to be reversed. It's like the end game all over again. And similarly,
Yeah, I was waiting to actually mention Endgame. Yeah.
yeah, it's like let's like be totally brutal here now, but we know it's not gonna stick, so what's the point? Yeah.
You know what? Actually, the analogy works because the first part of the book is basically like Infinity War. It's pretty dark, and then no, we're bringing everybody back.
Yeah, but I think with the Avengers, we got like 10 years of loving the characters and learning about the characters, and here, I was very surprised at the end of the first part when the brother killed himself, and I kept thinking, like, remember on YouTube people sort of praising the book for being like an LGBTQ plus, a book with LGBTQ characters, and let's celebrate queerness and sci-fi. And I kept like reading. Well, it's very tragic to be a queer person in this world, so I don't know, exactly what we're like celebrating here, but.
the rest of everything and her character more than the brother, I think.
I mean, it's my impression that it's just, it's representation. It doesn't have to be that a character has a happy life. It's just that he's presented as queer. That's also important.
Okay, also the main character is queer, so that was like a major thing for me.
Speaking of, am I the only one who, this was at least for the first quarter of the book, I really thought the author was setting her, sorry, that the author was setting Kira up as asexual. Because at least on two different occasions where Magnus talks to her, don't you just want to like hold somebody, something like that? And she goes, I mean, I like you and I like my sister.
Yeah, I was reading into it. I'm not saying like she like discovering her like queerness is wrong. Like I liked her and Elizabeth, but I was also reading her as more of asexual. She didn't care for that at all. She actually felt a little repulsed by mentioning of sex altogether. I mean, it's the way she was raised, but also the way she was not interested in it at all. So
also, did you catch the conversation with, I think it was with Cleo in the third quarter of the book, where she said like, but you never do you even there was something like, that was what I said. So that's how and why.
I mean, sure, I guess I can't say from like an experience of a lesbian because I'm not one, but when she's talking about, oh yeah, I never realized I liked girls, but you didn't like anyone, and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah.
Also, I attributed that to her focusedness on the job and on the goal. Let's
that plus, I mean, she did grow up in a extremely homophobic society.
Yeah, I'm just going to point out that early on in the book, when they're watching the forbidden footage, when with the reporter on that is non-binary very clearly, and since she grew up in this very homophobic and transphobic society, her brain needs to put this person in a box, male or female, and she's constantly like, it's a man, no, it's a female. And while she's doing all of this, there's a moment where she goes like, while her brain is switching between the genders, she's still attracted to both. Yeah. So that's happened. This established
very early on. Which is weird. I just didn't catch it. I didn't catch it until the Lisa date, which was the thing that brought me through the third quarter of the book, which was totally unnecessary. And the Yiso thing, because they're a ship, they're like a major ship, at least the way I read them. I mean, Kira and Yiso. And at that point she became pansexual in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, she says that in her brain that she feels the same towards Lisa and Esau. That is how. So it's obviously that definitely, though she could be on a spectrum still, regardless of her.
I mean, I was just about to say that. I mean, as far as I know, you can find somebody aesthetically pleasing without having any sexual desire towards them. Goes to the news reporter that you mentioned.
But the word attractive as a writer you would not use if you do not want to hint her attraction to both genders, which is the point of that moment.
Okay. That is
you would say,
I do remember the point when it was talked about how she's obviously interested in both, but I still kind of her whole story did not. I don't know. It was her romance, her interest in someone else as like a romance person, whatever. It started off very late into the book. I know she's been like opening up to other possibilities to her life and everything, but it felt a little bit, and I wouldn't say forced, but I would say maybe, unnecessary to the book itself. Maybe I didn't need it in this book to bring out the point. I mean, I get it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the romance was completely unimportant. It was mostly about her.
Let's show how different she is than the one that we saw.
Yes.
How different the character would be if. Oh my god! In the second version, did the humans win? I don't remember.
The second.
What happened if, like, the humans won in the second one, and how that would affect her and the whole society, I guess. So I think that was the point of the whole relationship and the date, because to show, this is what happens if humans lose, and this is what happens if humans win, and how those two characters are different.
Well, I mean, the difference is smaller. It's just whether or not she is born, but she grow the society, the immediate society around her, whether or not she grows up surrounded by a few hundred people who have a very, very strict and very precise and narrow worldview, or she grows up on a colony that is full of people where you can't really just go and pretend that queer people don't exist.
Yeah.
I mean,
also, they had more contact with aliens, right? In the second version.
Yeah, because in the second version, it's more the surviving aliens are more like accepted, segregated, but accepted.
Segregated, yeah. It's mostly like minorities.
Yeah, they're not. It's not a full extermination fantasy.
Christina, you've been silent for some time. Jump in.
I'm just following what you're saying because somebody says something that I agree with, so it doesn't need to be repeated, I guess. I just I felt, for me, almost like I wanted it to be 3 different books. If that makes any case. No, just like I was very enraged with the whole how radicalized she was. I was like, Maya, like, is this the character we're supposed to like read through the entire book? Is this the world we're reading? Because like I hate everything. Like I hate the nursery. I hate like the homophobia, the transphobia. I like hate everything about this station. Like I don't want to like read about this world. And like you, Antonia, said, she starts deradicalizing like bit by bit, and I was like, okay, I'm okay with this being like the slow way we're gonna find out like she's gonna go from cult status to like Netflix documentary I left the cult, like yeah, and I was fine, and I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. Like I like cults, it's interesting, like crazy but interesting, okay. And then like the reality shift changed. I was like, what is this now? Like, no, I was just being okay with this first part, and now it's something completely different. And then, okay, it lasted like for a slow period of time, but I was like, okay, again, okay, maybe this is going to be some kind of thing where she's actually, when Yiso comes and like goes with the real. I was like, okay, maybe like this is the whole point where she finds out she's actually in a loop and she actually can't save anything because whatever she does, that's it. Like, and we're gonna like see a couple of loops, and then Beyond is gonna be like, oh well, fuck it.
I hate that
Nothing
show.
can be saved.
I'm with Vesna here. I would not have liked a loop. I mean,
No,
reality
I
shifting
wouldn't.
is one thing, but time loops are.
No, I'm not saying I wanted that, but
No,
I was
no,
like,
no.
okay, maybe
No
we're
worries,
going
we
towards
understood you.
yeah. And then that changed. That was like it was like like I constantly felt like it was okay. Now I have to read something completely new. Like it didn't feel what's the word, like cohesive.
Yeah.
Like
Connected.
it jumped too much.
Wow.
Yeah, it jumped too much for me. But I mean, I liked it in general. Like I don't have that much. Like it just felt a bit disconnected at times, and like that middle part, I like to understand what I'm reading, and I just couldn't understand what was wisdom, what shadow space. Like I just maybe I just don't read enough sci-fi, and I was just like, what, how does this work, what is this? Like I have a problem with that. I need to understand stuff, and I just didn't understand this, and it was just like I skipped
I grew
parts
up
where
reading sci-fi, and my biggest takeout was you don't need to understand if it's plausible. It really doesn't matter how the sausage gets made.
Yeah, I get that. That's what I'm saying. I didn't grow up with sci-fi, so like for me it's still
okay, fair enough, but maybe we're different brains also. I don't
Yeah.
care as long as the story is good.
You accept and you move on. You're like, okay, it exists.
Imagine it like magic. It will help. It does help. Yeah. You know,
I mean,
I thought that
the difference between the difference between wisdom and the genie from Aladdin is the only difference is that wisdom can actually choose whether or not it'll do something. It's not bound to, and it's not just 3 wishes. Then it says we can do this as many times as you like. You're still not gonna like what you see.
I sort of connected wisdom to like an IA that went rogue. That was my
No, it actually didn't go rogue. It actually wisdom literally does what it was created to do. It's just that what it was created to do
collects all the knowledge, doesn't it? Like,
no. But what it was, they made it, and it does exactly what it was made to do. The only thing, nobody's happy with what it's actually doing, because
but wisdom is not doing anything until the end. Wisdom is just a quantum computer that gives you all the possible alternate universes, and it's the people connected to the wisdom that then choose, I'm going to choose this universe, and wisdom does that. That's the really big point of the wisdom as a character, when they step in and said, I'm not going, now I'm the one that's choosing, because they were shackled in a way to their creators. And that was the whole, like, the big dilemma about wisdom having to generate so many alternative universes to find the best possible solution for the asker. And it's just, you can't find, because in each version, someone else is going to be in the worst position. Someone else is going to be in the bad side, and someone else will be going to be in the better. There is no utopia, and wisdom can only give you, like, okay, like in this version, like trillions die, in this version millions dies.
Yeah, like I said, every single
dies.
solution every answer sucks.
Like,
As long as you keep asking questions, you're gonna get sucky answers, because there is no perfect solution.
yeah,
I
but
personally
in the
would
end,
have been
always there's someone else who chooses. Someone in the end, I felt like when wisdom chose, they chose the best because they are the wisdom.
I see what you did there. Yes, I hate it, but I see what you did there.
I'd like to actually hear Vesna. What, like you said, you really loved it, and I like saw your Facebook post and everything. I mean, we've been kind of, just talking about some bad plot points and stuff.
Yeah, because
I want to hear.
Vesna and I are apparently the only ones that kind of really like the book.
No, I gave it 4 stars.
Me
I would
too.
give it 4 stars
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
I couldn't give it
So-
two
I
stars.
think Maya is the only one that
So
didn't like
why
it.
then is Vesna the only one?
Everybody kind of liked it except for Maya. So okay.
What
well,
the hell are you doing then?
what happened was I saw a title that I vaguely connected to the First World War. And I'm personally very interested in the consequences of wars through sci-fi, speculative fiction in general. That's what I write. That's what I really like to read, not just sci-fi. And I didn't even connect it to the poem I knew it from, because I knew it from my high school English teacher who made us learn by heart the Wilfred Owen poem, which is literally one line goes like, children ardent for some desperate glory or something. And one of the next following lines is like, we tell them the old lie, dulce et decorum est pro patria mori, which is the sweet and meat it is to die for fatherland.
Oh.
Yeah, and it pinged on my fucking radar. And then I saw the girl in the semi-uniform and I was like, yes, I'm here for it. And I didn't even know it was queer. I had no idea it was queer. So I really like military sci-fi. I loved some of the original books which inspired this book, especially Ursula Le Guin, which the author Emily Tesh actually cited in her acknowledgements. She cited J.R.R. Tolkien and Ursula Le Guin as one
Everybody
of the
cites Tolkien. It's like
no, but it's wait, okay, but
it's
she
like
didn't
God at the Oscars. I mean, seriously, everybody's like doing Tolkien.
I like the first part. I died when Magnus, the brother, died the first time. I was devastated. I couldn't get over it. And then there's this Magna Terra alternate universe, and I'm like trudging through it. And then I realize the main character is queer with the Lisa storyline. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And then their parallel personalities start merging, hers and Cleo's and Yisso's. And I'm like, where have I seen this before? Yes, the Vorkosigan saga, which this whole book is like a big Vorkosigan saga homage. And then we get to my favorite part, which is we get out as many people as we can. And that's where I started crying and I didn't stop, because that's one of my favorite tropes of all time. The moment they said we're going to get the nursery wing out, I was sold. Like, I would die for this book. I would die for this character. And it was her storyline getting from the lone wolf, whom everyone hated. When Zeno left the first time, she was like, I hate both of you. I hated everybody. But she was never actually alone. And I really like that as a narrative, as a major story trope. It's one of the things I write also, because it's, I guess, my personal story, which you can never do anything alone. None of us are an island. And when she was like, we don't need to get 3 people out, we need to get 300 people out. That's where it worked for me. And it kept working for me until the very end. I hated that she didn't kill Admiral Joel herself. It was very, I felt robbed of it.
It was such a great moment at the
The
bridge
setup.
where he killed her mother when she was behind him and nobody was paying attention to her. And she said that multiple times that nobody's paying any attention. It will be such a great parallel to his brains splattering all over where her mother's brains splattered.
It would have been a coward's choice from her part, and it would have been double the betrayal, because she would have betrayed both him and herself. Anyway, and then the end was like, I'm here for the ship. I mean the shipping, not the actual vehicle.
We know.
But I was like, this is the Hyperion and Endymion by Dan Simmons all over again with the fucking ship. I just can't do it anymore. And I still love the book. So yeah, but getting everyone out, and especially if you can't save everyone, it doesn't mean you don't have to save anybody. It's a major plot point from one of my favorite characters of all time, Mark Vorkosigan from the Vorkosigan saga, the other one from Mirror Dance, and it gets me, it sells the book to me. So yeah, I'm grateful.
When I was reading the date scene with Elizabeth and Lisa and Val, I was like thinking the whole time, oh my God, this is so Vesna style. Oh no, in a good way. In like, I was like, oh my god, this reminds me of your writing, but also like, I don't know, it was like screaming your name, and I was like, okay, yeah.
She's in
And
her
the kiss,
like parade, she's in her parade uniform.
yeah, yes. I was like, and the gloves. I was like, yeah, okay, I can totally see you.
No, that literally is one of my favorite moments. Her
That was such a
her
good
coming,
moment. Yeah.
the way she's dressed, and it's like I have no idea how to act on a date, so I'm just gonna go with what I feel most comfortable in, and it's the full dress parade uniform. It's like this will impress people, right? Of course.
And then when it was revealed, like she had also cut her hair full short, I was like, oh yeah, I can totally see that scene. And it was, I really loved that scene, and I loved the date. It was so sweet. Yeah.
Because I mean, to me at least, it read as somebody who has so little prior personal experience with dating, but really, really wants to leave a good impression because it's really, really important for her. It's just like this will probably work.
I want to ask if Christina or Maya, did you read this in audio on or on some
Or
other
with your
format?
eyes.
What?
Did you? I listened to the book on audio,
You listened.
and the narrator was all right. I've heard better, but because there were the scenes with the boy genius. I never remember names. So the boy genius who, yeah, he turned out a bit like, I don't want to say melodramatic, but there was lots of yelling, and this is for Earth, whatever, it's his revenge, it's for something like that. So that kind of, it was when I didn't really check the book before I started reading it whether it was like YA or an adult, but with the themes I was like, okay, it's an adult book because of the first part.
Yeah.
But then later on, when your characters are like yelling, because like disgruntled teenagers, it kind of lowers at least my enjoyment a little bit.
Yeah, I found her narration was really great, but I couldn't pass over the Iso narration for me. The high pitched voice. What?
Very childlike, I had to say.
Yeah, and then they start touching each other. What?
I was like,
absolutely not what they sound in my head. Okay.
No,
in the audiobook it was it sounded like a cute fuzzy alien, basically. That's what it sounded like.
No.
Like a kid.
So, nope.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So when she started to be like what Weston said, when they started to be so touchy, I was like, it's a literal child. Stop touching them.
The only reason I know what Yuzu sounded like was because she
she played to the part.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I mean, maybe that was a choice because of how he is described. He is described as a child, like size-wise. He is described like he is very short and like like this. Yes, but I never felt like he was a child, like in the book.
No,
like
but the book says
it never had like a childlike voice in my head. Never.
No.
But
he's a teenager, right?
I mean, he said that
all of them are teenagers.
They're like the same age or something.
Yeah, he said that if he converts his age, that is 12, to the human years, that it will be somewhere around hers. Yeah. So they're like teenagers both,
so
but
that when they start getting touchy-feely, it's not problematic.
In any case, I think the narrator chose this high-pitched voice because she wanted to make him sound alien, because everyone else had normal-ish modulations, and he was the only one that was really like different. But yeah, it did paint him in my head like a child, and I just couldn't see him as a teen or grown up or anything. Like, it was just,
well, I read with my eyes. I had no issues with it.
But that is like a real problem. Like, Antonia, I totally feel you, because I read one book where like you follow characters from when they're little, when they're adults.
But the wolf one?
But the Wolf Song one, but one of them is just the kid, and the other kind of appears like there's like eight years age difference. But like, you know, one is like 10 when they first appear. So I was like, when they started kind of, they were fated mates and everything, I was like, but he's 10. He sounds like a child. I can totally get why you would be so creeped out when this part happens in that book, if the narrator got like is speaking like a child. That's like, ooh.
Yeah, it does change your perspective a lot, the way the narrators read the parts. Definitely, like you can totally switch perspectives. Also, she read Joel really hot. Like, come on, lady. I know that's a plot point. I know that it's supposed to be so charming.
He is supposed to be the, you know, that's it.
Well, he's the charismatic cult leader. I mean, come on.
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
She's not gonna read him to sound like, I don't know.
Anyway, unimportant. I just remembered that now.
No, but that is actually, when you say that her narration for him is somebody that sounds very attractive. That perfectly makes perfect sense. That's a perfectly sensible choice.
Yeah. So is there anything we didn't cover so far?
We mentioned Avi before. I just want to say Avi was a dick to Magnus. Like, I mean, wow.
It's called internalized homophobia.
That was just wow. Okay, you're actually kind of taking.
Yeah, I was like reading it. Oh, you're a dick in every universe.
That was. So I don't know what actually is his what the explanation is in other universes where there's no reason for him to have internalized homophobia. I think it's just like across universes. That's his genetic trait, and everything else is maybe nurture. This is nature. This is nature.
I mean,
there's an explanation for it.
Yeah, I would say that there's difference between his behavior towards Magnus in the Gaia main universe, and his just regular dickish behavior that is obviously through the universes. Though we didn't see enough of the background of the second Magnus, Avi, to know what brought him there in that particular situation. So I'm not.
It's discussed at length that he didn't have like family, and that nobody wanted him in any version.
Any version. So I could understand why he turned dickish, but I understood why he's constantly rejecting Magnus on the Gaia station, because he doesn't believe himself. And he says this, I think, in multiple situations, that he thinks that Magnus is simply following him because he's the only visible queer. He doesn't believe he's good enough for Magnus.
It's an actual thing,
So, like, I understand his behavior, but we just never saw him talking it out with Magnus. We just always saw him talking it out with Kier. And it worked because, for me, the romance really isn't important in this book, only the characters and their own figuring shit out. And romantic aspect is a part of this, but not the main part of it. I would like to believe that Avi managed to get his shit together,
get his head out of his ass.
But there's definitely a lot of this problem to believe that nobody wants you, and that the only person that does show interest in you obviously doesn't show it because he wants you, but because you're the only person here. So that's shitty. I actually love him a lot, like a character. I like him.
I like him being consistently an asshole. Because if he were different in any iterations, it would have been cheaper for me.
Well, they had to have someone who was the same the entire time.
You need that one constant.
Yes. Like, everything changes, but we know he will be an asshole.
Yeah, we can count on Emmy to be an asshole.
the constants. Humans are assholes in general, who
Yes.
are bloodthirsty and obsessed with war, and the other is that Avicenta is an asshole. That's
Yes.
the two
Like I
constants
said,
in the universe.
Abby was a dick.
Okay.
Speaking of, I mean, going back to Keir and the whole de-radicalization, definitely for me the high point of the book. That was the part that I was most invested in, because there is something that a particular thing that I was, when I realized at the start what the writer is doing, and I was interested whether or not she was going to pull punches or do a sudden switch or something, but she doesn't. She takes it slow, and she does this thing that I really appreciated, which is something that when I was reading before about through my life about cultish people escaping from cults, and not actually any Netflix documentaries, but there was a point at like 2 years ago where I was really interested in people's experiences of people that actually escaped Scientology. And there's this moment that actually happens to Keir, which I really like, and it's that you don't start perceiving these inherent not just strangeness, but injustice of the system you live in until it starts affecting you personally. And then it's suddenly, oh, wait, this is wrong, because everything, whatever. But then she doesn't get command, she gets nursery, and it's suddenly, I mean, not suddenly, but it's like, well, this sucks. And I'm like, yes. And it sucks for everybody else, but I'm glad you're finally seeing something. And at that point, I was really hoping that the writer wouldn't just, okay, and now she's fully against it. No, but it's just this little seed of doubt that it starts growing, because then she starts noticing other things. And she talks to Avicenna, and then that's the second or third time that she mentions that queerness is mentioned. Only this time, the way, at least that's the way I remember it, it's a little more different. She's not that opposed to it. And as it goes on and on, but still, when she gets to the planet and when she meets her sister, she's still so indoctrinated still that she still believes, no, this is like a big a plot. My brother is faking it. He's really here to kill her. And I'm like, yeah, because this is it. Because this is all those people that I've listened to podcasts and saw interviews with that said it's same with Scientology, or like you said, Mormonism, or anything else, or smaller cults. It's you hold on to these tenets firmly, whether or not the reality of the situation around you is ever strongly pressing against them. And it's like, no, this doesn't make any sense. No, but this one thing, because it's a huge thing. It's a thing that you grew up with. And it's kind of hard to just, okay, no, none of the things that I knew that I grew up with is valid. Now I'm switching it completely differently. And it takes her basically, up to 5 pages before the first reality shift that she finally, okay, yeah, this isn't a trick. My sister is here, and my brother isn't here on a secret mission, and yeah, it sucks. Yeah. And it's still the change that she tries to bring on with the wisdom stems from her worldview, which is that no, we should have won the battle, and everything would have been better.
Yeah, there was also a moment with the admiral in the nursery when she went to visit her friend that she kept thinking about through the. I skipped that part when it started. I was like, okay, I'm skipping. I don't care. I didn't want to read it, and then Christina told me what happened.
No, it's so fucking creepy, but it's nothing.
Thinking about this moment about how men in her society take liberties, and there was also a little scene with the soldiers when they were taking apart the alien ship. When they were talking about, one of the girls got nursery and said, "Oh, we hope we get to visit you soon." You know, the liberties that the men take in this world. This was, I guess, the first time she noticed it, and she kept thinking about it throughout all the universes.
Yeah,
because it touched her directly, because she was getting nursery.
As Igor said.
Yeah,
it finally started affecting her.
That's
she was
it.
Like, oh.
Although
I guess all of you remember the quote. It's a longer one, but the final part is, and then they
came for
came
us.
for us, came for me, and there was nobody to stand up for me. That was the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
World-
old. It's an
world-
old one and also
I
true.
think it's the World War II quote.
Yeah, because it's the
First
poem about
Nazis
yeah.
come
First
for
again
the
for
yeah.
So,
And this also, I think, goes in hand that she's also, out of all the girls, privileged. She's like a war breed. She's the best. I mean, she's worked for it, but she also has Uncle Joel who keeps an eye on her. And she's taught this whole time that he's going to protect her. And then she realized it still doesn't apply to me. I'm still one of the women they try to like take advantage of.
Yeah. Although those are really good representation of what it's like in cults and cultish societies and environments, because they pit them against each other, and it's boys against girls, and it's within your wing you're competing, and the wings are competing against each other, and it's gender against gender. And she says that she's the best in her wing, and what's the phrasing? Almost as good as most of the boys, or something like it.
She's like the sixth. I think the 5 boys are in front of her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's constantly obsessing with it.
Yeah.
With the
I was like,
Because-
girl, chill, please.
No, but that is a great thing, because if they keep you invested in that, you don't think about that you're living in a basically shitty situation, and you're not starting to question, but why are we? And it's that great thing about the great external enemy, and when she goes outside, and it's like, oh yeah, you're from that weird little place. It's basically it's the space equivalent of the compound in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
With 100 people living there and thinking that the entire world has gone to shit, and they come outside and it's like, hello, you're new.
Yeah.
So we're at the 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
How are you all feeling about wrapping this?
Yeah.
I think we said a lot of things.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a long book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So nobody was angry with me when they had to read it through.
No, I was
No.
honestly. I think. I mean, I remember us talking about it a few times before we started reading, and you had this. You left me with this impression that you were really apprehensive about the book.
Yeah, because I read the content warnings.
I wanted to say about the content warnings. I was expecting like this hardcore book, and I was like, okay, the content warnings
and
give a little bit.
Antonia was right.
Yeah.
When she
It
said
was
that.
hardcore.
No, it was fine.
No,
like, I'm
it
glad
was just
they're
handled differently. And I'm coming back to the fact that it was written by a woman, a person who has an experience of growing up as a woman with a functional set of ovaries and a uterus.
And there was
this book is about this. I don't know about Emily Tesh's ovaries. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with me. But I think this is the difference. Yeah. It was scary.
But the scenes that the content warnings were for were really, they were gruesome. Not in a fact, like, not, I don't know, gory or violent or I don't know, graphic. They're just so it's emotionally wrenching to read them. Yeah.
Because
also, especially because it's a part of the world building. It's just like a normal thing. And then, like, I think at the third point in, she says, like, did you not know that one in 3 women in nursery dies? And he's like, what? Like, what from? Nobody knows.
And it's the same as that sentence when she finally figures out why there's more boys than girls.
I forgot about that point. And we were talking about statistics in the real world.
There's no way that will be happening. And I think I said that maybe
you said they were them.
But did you notice that there was one trigger that was not
yes, that was
content
what I was
warning?
going to ask. Did anybody else catch it apart from us?
I
No,
didn't read the entire trigger warning list, so
I don't remember all the content warnings. There were lots of them, so
we read it several times because they were so funny because there was such a long list of them. They didn't warn for grooming. And it's actually a major plot point.
With uncle
Yeah,
Joel
they
and
Oh,
his care towards Ursa and her.
They
right.
wrote sexual assault and they wrote child abuse and they wrote radicalization as child abuse, but it didn't write sexual assault of a minor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and no,
And
no
grooming.
grooming. Yeah,
Which is, when I think about it, they didn't content warn for actually the thing that is depicted on screen. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Because
No, I mean, I think you're thinking about
referring to
the
kissing, I guess.
child
Yeah.
sexual,
Sorry.
like.
Sorry, Maya, what did you say?
Is
Sorry.
Igor referring to the kissing when Joel kissed
Yeah.
the 16-year-old? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
she's 17.
Yeah,
Oh,
that makes
doesn't
all the
matter.
difference.
Doesn't matter at this point.
No, but it's
No,
written
I'm-
as a sexual assault. I think that it
Yeah,
is warned.
but
the
I'm
grooming
referring-
part isn't.
At her sister and what he did to her.
No,
what he did to
yes,
her
but
for
I'm-
over
but I'm-
10 years.
No. I know. I'm just saying that it's in the line. There's a lot of things that they say that, like forced pregnancy, which is never. I think, like you, was thinking that they were gonna show certain things,
No,
not literally
but
graphically, but
what would you warn for Joel kissing her? What would
No.
you put as a warning for that?
that. No. I'm agreeing. They did not warn for that, but I'm
Yes,
saying
but I
that
wasn't talking about that.
She's talking about Ursa and what he was doing to Ursa for.
Doesn't that fall under children's sexual abuse?
Yeah, it's not warned.
No. I'm saying that all falls together, and but there are things that are trigger warned that are only discussed and not shown on screen, and this is something that is both implied, said it happened before, and something that is shown on screen, and there is no warning for that.
Well, trigger warnings does make it seem like it will be a much darker book than it is, because all of these themes were really well done, I would say. And in not a particularly triggering way, I think, but maybe persons who does have that triggers would have other opinion, and so definitely I cannot comment on that part. As someone who was finished, anyways, in my college years, I read a lot about biopolitics. And this book also is a really great exploration of that concept, as the others, as with multiple other topics. So I would still recommend it to people, even though I have obviously complaints about it. But in the end, I did binge through it. It did keep me hooked, and there were a lot of characters that I really cared about personally. So I'm just mostly maybe disappointed by some of the choices made in the narrative, but not as the book as the whole. Yeah, that's that from me. Now you can use this time to make your closing speeches.
Statements, yeah.
Statements, yeah.
Okay, closing arguments.
I'll just say I concur with Antonia. You literally just said like what I was thinking. That's it. I'm done.
Okay. Do we? I mean, it's already closing time, but still, Christina, since you're the only person out of all of us that I know that has given birth,
This one unexpected place. Okay.
I was thinking while reading. I'm sorry. I was thinking while reading the book that I would really like to hear your. Did you have any different reaction or ideas about the way pregnancy and the whole nursery thing was treated in the book? Did you realize something we didn't discuss, or I don't know?
No.
Sorry, thank you. We can go back to.
No. Just I don't think I would have felt differently about the book prior to giving birth and now, because I just generally forced pregnancy, like any type of that thing, like just generally just women issues. like have always been like a thing that I'm really get upset about. So I don't think I'll tell you that like what changed for me after birth was the emotional part. And since here there's not a lot of like actual like scenes that would be very emotional about it, like it was a bit clinical, like you knew that that was happening and you were appalled by it, but there was no like that emotional thing. So I didn't I think I would have reacted the same before, you know. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
But it's just maybe I don't know. I was one thing I was really upset about, because I didn't think about it, just like here, like at that point when they talk about like the forced miscarriages. I mean, not miscarriages, like the forced, like, you know, like that part kind of hit a bit harder, I think, than it would have been before, just a little bit. Like I'm not I'm not against like, you know, I'm all like pro-choice. Like I just have to say, like, I'm really pro-choice, like hey, like
yeah, but it's
you
not
do
really a
whatever you
choice.
want, but this here
book,
isn't a choice. This isn't a choice. It's like they're not letting you choose what you do with your body, and like no, yeah, that's basically it. Sorry.
Thank you. Sorry,
you just got me really off
because I
guard.
forgot all about my great idea of asking you earlier. Sorry. No, okay.
Okay.
All right, so I guess look forward to the next book we read.
Yeah. And all
The next live discussion.
and all the fun and fluffy discussions we'll have about that one.
Yes.
Well, at least we weren't bored to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody managed to read the book, which is
Yes.
a step up from last time for some of us.
Oh right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that will be that. Thank you all for watching this, whether right now or at a later point in the universe. and
Universes.
See, sometime before the heat death of the universe. Yes.
Yeah. So if nobody has anything last words to say, we're going to say goodbye.
See you on the other side, unless you're playing a certain redhead character from Endgame.
Okay. Okay.
Oh God. Okay. Took me a moment.
I think it's time for close to
Yeah,
close.
I think it's time for Igor to click the end stream. Yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.